Thinking of moving to the Kansas City area and wondering what the pros and the cons are? Well, here you go. One of the biggest cons of living in this city is if you are a vegan and if you don't like to drink alcohol. That's going to be a con here. We are a beer drinking, meat eating, sports loving kind of city. If you are a vegetarian or a vegan, you don't drink alcohol and you don't like sports, it's going to be a serious con here. It's very difficult to escape those three things here in this city. One of the pros of the Kansas City area is we really are a collection of a bunch of cities, all with their own personalities. For example, you've got the downtown area. If you are a hipster, you will probably like living downtown. And then we have Liberty. That's the Northland. It has the Northland feel and fairly close to the airport. Then we go over to Independence. Most people that seek out independence are probably Mormon. On the southeast side, we have Lee's Summit, where you can get a lot of house for your money. We have Prairie Village, where a lot of the hipsters that like older homes congregate to. We have the Leewood area. That's where the big houses really are. That's where the expensive houses really are. We have the Overland Park area, one of the bigger cities, great schools. Down south, we have the Olathe area. If you work for Garmin, you probably want to live in Olathe. We have the Lenexa area, which checks a lot of boxes for a lot of people. It's close to downtown, and you've got a quick drive up to the airport on the west side of the city. Shawnee pretty much checks the same boxes as Lenexa. It's a little bit older. It's a little bit closer to downtown. Out west, we have the DeSoto area. If you're thinking about moving out there, you're probably interested in the new Panasonic battery plant. Up north, we have Platte City, the closest of these cities to the airport. And we have the Waldo area, one of those other places that the cool kids like to congregate. All of those cities that I've mentioned, except for two of them, have highly rated public school systems, and all of them, except for one, have an average house price of $500,000 or less. In some cases, much less. Okay, now to the cons. One of the cons in Kansas City, bugs. In the summer, we have a lot of bugs. We have the flying bugs, the stinging bugs, the biting bugs, the bugs that chew into the wood of your house. We have the bugs. And not just bugs that fly, bite, sting, or eat up your house. We have bugs that make noise. On a summer night in Kansas City, it's very loud outside just from the bugs. I know that sounds crazy. Some people are worried about traffic noise. Actually, there are some parts of the city that the bugs are louder than the background traffic noise. So watch out for that. Be ready for that. Okay, back to the pros. We have the best barbecue in the world, hands down, in the world. Now, if you're coming from Texas, I know you're going to have an argument against that. Really, if you're coming from Texas, come up here, hit me up. We will go have some Kansas City barbecue. Not necessarily the popular places, but I'll show you some of the holes in the wall. I would love to take you there and get your honest opinion. So there you have it. St. Louis people, you'll probably want to argue with me as well on that. Offer goes for you too. If you're coming to Kansas City, thinking of moving to Kansas City, hit me up and we will go test the barbecue and you tell me if this doesn't beat yours. Back to the cons. We have a sprawling city here in Kansas City. We cover a ton of miles. And when a city does that, of course, the population density goes down, which is a good thing for a lot of reasons, but it is a bad thing for public transportation. With a population density as low as ours, the public transportation just isn't there. If you move to Kansas City, you need a car. You're not going to be able to just get by with walking. If you try to get by with Ubering and whatnot, you're going to spend a ton of money on that. Now, there are a few places downtown. There's a new spot in Lenexa that has living and a place that you can go get your groceries that's in walking distance. Still, this is not a walking city. You need a car. Everything in Kansas City is at least 20 miles away. I, I say that halfway joking, but halfway serious. Get a car if you move to Kansas City. If you don't have a car, if you don't like to drive, if you can't handle traffic, that is a serious con for you and this city. A big pro that we have going on in Kansas City right now is the Kansas City Chiefs. We are living through a dynasty right now. We are the new New England Patriots. Now, how long will that last? No one knows. Probably as long as Patrick Mahomes still plays for us. So enjoy it. This does not come along often. It is a fantastic experience going out to Arrowhead. I've been to a lot of stadiums. Nobody does football like Kansas City. So to summarize, basically a Chiefs game is you show up 3 hours before the Chiefs game. You basically spend that time drinking and eating barbecue. Then the game starts. We have the documented loudest fan base in the NFL. A lot of that has to do with the design of the stadium. The other part has to do with the 3 hours of drinking that 90% of the fans do before the game. It makes for a better fan, a louder fan. That is Kansas City. So if you are here, absolutely, positively get out to Arrowhead and enjoy the Chiefs. Back to the cons of living in Kansas City. We have a ton of allergies. We have springtime allergies, summertime allergies, and fall allergies. We have a ton of oak trees. We have a ton of grass pollen. We have a ton of everything else that seems to make people want to sneeze during those 3 seasons. So keep that in mind. We are not an allergy-friendly city. Back to the pros of living in Kansas City is the overall cost of living. Yes, there are expensive places to live. There are also affordable places to live. And if you have kids, there are affordable places to live that feed into highly rated public schools. So keep that in mind. A very affordable city. And back to the cons is the weather. The summers are too hot and the winters are too cold. When the summers are hot, they are also humid. When you go outside, it's like being in a sauna. So if you have a hard time handling the heat, if you have a hard time handling the cold, you're going to have a hard time in Kansas City. It is always too hot or too cold in Kansas City. Maybe 4 days a year, there's an exception to that rule, but you're either sweating or you're shivering, and some days you're going to do both. You're going to shiver in the morning and sweat in the afternoon. Your heater is going to be on in the morning and your air conditioner is going to be on in the afternoon. Or your air conditioner is going to be running 24/7 or your heater is going to be running 24/7. It's one of those options. So that's Kansas City, and it's something we have to live with. Along with the hot, humid summers come the intense thunderstorms and tornadoes. That's the other thing to worry about here in Kansas City. So one of the cons is you really need a house with a basement to basically hide during the tornadoes, And I'm not kidding on that. You want a house with a basement. In the winter, we do get snow. It doesn't snow frequently, but often the storms we do get in the winter are basically like a winter version of a thunderstorm. So we might get 1 snow a month, but that snow might be 5+ inches. Okay, so be ready for heat. Be ready for thunderstorms, hail, tornadoes, snow, and freezing rain. Let me throw that in. We can't forget about that. Okay, that's the weather in Kansas City. Some people say, oh, we have 4 seasons. Yes, we do have 4 seasons. We have 2 weeks of spring, 2 weeks of fall. The rest of the time is either winter or summer. So if you can handle those cons, I think Kansas City is a great place for you. Now, if you have any questions about finding a house in Kansas City and finding a house in one of those cities around Kansas City, I know them all, and I know a bunch of them that are smaller that I didn't mention. Just give me a call and we will talk about that. And also take me up on that barbecue challenge. I would love that. I love showing off Kansas City barbecue. Back to the pros for Kansas City. And this, I think, is the biggest one, the most important one, are the jobs. We have a lot of good jobs, a lot of good employers here in Kansas City. I'm not talking about McDonald's and Burger King. I'm talking about big companies like Garmin, Oracle, Tech. If you are a knowledge worker, Kansas City is a good place for you. If you're in logistics, either on the knowledge side or the warehouse side, we've got a lot of options here in Kansas City, and it just seems to be getting bigger. So come to Kansas City. Take care.